What up, guys? So today, we are jumping into lethal with the worst weapon in the game. I am finally trying out the auto bolt rifle. And honestly, I figured I was good enough with tactical to be able to basically pull off having a pretty terrible primary. So I'm doing my best to buff the damage of the primary as much as possible. I do have Marked for Death. Marked for Death is going to do, it's going to carry its weight in this operation. But I gotta say, hey, you know what? I am increasing my range damage with the team perk, and I'm also increasing my primary damage with, the first perk the tactical has. This is definitely one of those operations that I kind of start to think to myself, holy cow, this weapon is pretty bad. But I try not to hold it against it too much because this is lethal, right? This is basically, I just felt like, hey, you know what? If I can do Ruthless with the Melta without much trouble, surely I can just jump into lethal with a bad weapon and play with a class that I'm more comfortable playing with, essentially. And I am using the fencing chainsword. And of course I also had the bolt pistol. So I do have options if things get a little bit too difficult. There's Marked for Death, followed by a nice double parry, which ended up, helping me take out those majors. And here we have a Biovore that we are basically just playing around with. I'm getting some nice shots in with the standard auto bolt rifle. Biovores are definitely kind of fun to fight right now. Since 4 mines are a little bit calmed down, Biovores are actually really fun to just like jump up into their face and try to get some melee attacks out of them. But they actually throw a fair amount of unblockable attacks. Sometimes that catches me off guard with the Biovore. I'm not really prepared for them to just start spamming unblockable attacks at me. But honestly, I still find them fun to fight. And yeah, so the weird thing about the standard auto bolt rifle is I don't know why this weapon is in the game. Not like, again, nothing against the weapon. This is on lethal, right? So this is a standard weapon. It's not really supposed to do anything good here. But like, seriously, what is the difference between the auto bolt rifle and then the regular bolt rifle? Like, I don't understand it. I know somebody in the comments is going to have to help me out with that. I feel like the bolt rifle, you can put the grenade launcher on it, and then you can also make it just like a regular, rifle as well. Whereas, oh, here's a Biovore. Yeah, that Biovore was super aggressive. Luckily, I got that gun strike. But yeah, like it's weird. Like the auto bolt rifle doesn't really have anything unique about it to separate it from like the heavy bolt rifle and then the regular bolt rifle. Maybe it should have like a fire rate buff or something. Because I'll tell you what, this weapon definitely needs some sort of adjustment. I don't know. Maybe the auto bolt rifle. Maybe this is the weapon that should have the highest headshot multiplier amongst the bolt rifle weapons outside of the Stalker. I'm more talking about the heavy bolt rifle and the heavy bolt rifle and the regular bolt rifle. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, there is definitely the difference. There's definitely a huge difference between the heavy bolt rifle and then the auto bolt rifle, but it's mostly in the favor of the heavy bolt rifle just because it has more ammo. You know what I mean? So it's kind of an interesting dynamic. But hey, you know what? We're actually getting through this operation. Right there was another nicely placed Marked for Death. Also, it really helps the fact that you can do the, obviously I'm using a fencing chainsword, so you can do the parry into the gun strike, and then I'm also, debuffing them with the scan as I'm doing the parries, which really helps out this build just overall have have some DPS. And yeah, obviously, it's the standard auto bolt rifle. It's not supposed to do anything too crazy. But hey, you know what? I gotta say, I jumped into this operation. This bulwark needed some help because it is lethal. I guess Lethal's just a ghost town, because we had this assault bot the entire time. And you know what? Hey, you know what? The bot was doing its best. Oh, here's a really bad situation. This is obviously a zone throw, right? I do have a stim there, and then I also lost, you know, I have a really hard time trying to reload my my weapon here. So I had to use the stim pack just so I could retain some health. Yeah, that was a bad situation to be in, probably because my weapon's bad. But luckily I still have a Guardian Relic. And I was kind of looking forward to the Hive Tyrant boss fight, to be completely honest. I really wanted to see what the worst weapon looks like on a Terminus health bar, you know what I mean? So, and honestly, the Hive Tyrant's also pretty easy to fight. Well, I wouldn't say easy to fight, but it's a good strategy to just, you know, parry him and gun strike him. So I figured, hey, no matter how bad this weapon is, I'm going to be able to parry and gun strike the Hive Tyrant. And yes, we do have advanced conditioning as well, which kind of helps out. You know, helps out the overall survivability of the team. This is technically a lethal run with just 2 players and 1 bot. Dude, honestly, if this bot was a heavy bot, it would actually be pretty good. It would actually be pretty good. The assault's okay. The assault bot's okay, I feel like. But he wasn't, you know, he was doing his job to just run around and melee things randomly. And yes, see right there, parry, puts the scan on him, gun strike, enrage, major down. And hey, you know what? This is a pretty good example of, you know, this standard auto bolt rifle actually doing a pretty good job at taking out a few of these gaunts. Oh, but here's a weird situation. Look at these guys. They're just looking at me. Like, I really should have just started swinging my weapon, but I was expecting one of them to at least, like, start to parry me. But I feel like my guard was up for parries because of majors as well. I definitely knew one of them was going to jump on me. And yeah, we are able to get a few good parries there. And honestly, it's a really good thing I do have a relic chainsword for, you know, these situations that get a little bit sweaty, that obviously a standard auto bolt rifle wouldn't really play out of. Well, honestly, even if this weapon was leveled up, maybe I would still be in a tough situation considering those spore mines and, frankly, how many majors are basically pursuing me. Because right here we have a lot of majors in the way. And I'm going to try my best to parry each and every one of them. And as long as I have a scan, I should be okay. Big parry right there. I go for some swings because I really want to try to get some DPS, but that might have been a mistake because I did get swarmed pretty fast. So once I saw them pretty much circle around me there and just, you know, pretty much just attack me with everything that they could attack me with, I was like, oh god, I'm definitely in trouble now. This is such a crazy situation. I did manage to get that one gun strike, which pretty much opens up the room for me a little bit here. I can actually use my primary weapon without needing to parry. Because, yeah, that was a lot of majors. They were all ready to throw a melee attack at me. So I had to be ready to parry something. But yeah, you know what? The auto bolt rifle here is getting some chip damage on their head as long as I can continue scanning them. That should still be a fair amount of damage that can help me actually, you know, basically seal the deal with a gun strike. But yeah, this is lethal. So honestly, that was actually a pretty wild fight, and the Hive Tyrant fight is so much worse. This was definitely a bad idea. I do not recommend jumping into lethal with a standard auto bolt rifle. It is definitely like one of the worst weapons in the game. It has to be either number one or number 2. It has to be one of them, right? But oh yeah, here. So the bulwark was actually, you know, letting me know in the chat here, since they were on PC, they were letting me know they were ready to banner, and I let them know. I was like, hey, dude, banner for yourself, and then, you know, just I'll find a way to heal. So right here, he goes for the banner, and then I get the execution because he was asking about it, and his banner killed the other enemy. Luckily, he had a stim pack, and he likely wanted to do this anyway to clear his mortal wound. But yeah, he was just letting me know in the chat that he was ready to banner me, and you know what? You know why the other enemy died? It was because the banner had an area of effect perk on it for the damage. It basically, when you drop banner, it has a little bit of an area of effect damage pool. But also, for whatever reason, even when you look at the clip, the Bulwark was totally about to execute the one to the right, and that's what I thought he was doing also. And that's why I went to the one to the left, but for whatever reason, the game forces Bulwark to go to the one to the left. You know, honestly, it's really, sometimes it's kind of just a little bit tedious to play around those situations, but frankly, it still worked out. The Bulwark, you know, cleared his mortal wound and healed, and basically, I also was able to heal as well. But yes, this is phase 1. This is phase 1 Hive Tyrant. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm scanning the Hive Tyrant quite a bit, and I'm trying my best to land headshots with the standard auto bolt rifle. Marked for Death is going to be great in this situation to help clear out the mobs. A very important part of this Hive Tyrant fight is to clear out the mobs, because it just, a lot of the mobs can kind of catch your teammates off guard. So if you see a mob, just try your best to just take them out, because that same gaunt that you basically could just one-shot is going to possibly attack one of your teammates, and they won't see it coming, so they might not be able to deal with it as easy as you do, being the player who does see it. But yeah, it doesn't really matter as long as you're good at parrying the Hive Tyrant. Oh yeah, there I was checking the Bulwark's healing. I wanted to see if they had a stim pack, so I pointed that one out for them. That stim pack might become relevant. Yeah, I thought the Bulwark was going to pick it up as soon as I pointed it out, and I think he went over there and just decided not to pick it up. I'm not too sure, because he definitely walked over in the area of the stim pack there. I do use my stim pack there because I maybe could have gotten some contested health back. But for this Hive Tyrant fight, once we got into phase 2, I was really looking for some damage. I just wanted to see, some burst damage, and honestly, it's basically what I wanted to do was jump into this operation using the auto bolt rifle, right? So it's my burden to basically have to play around the fact that I wanted to do this ridiculous thing that I do not recommend anyone else do. Like, seriously, do not jump into lethal or absolute with a standard auto bolt rifle. But hey, you know what? If you're parrying like this, it might be fine. I'm definitely landing some pretty good parries here. Dude, honestly, I've been jumping between fencing, balancing, and blocking so often nowadays. It's pretty wild. But fencing is definitely the melee mode that I have the most, basically the most time in. Basically, fencing is just, I have a lot of time on fencing, so it just, it feels comfortable to use, especially against Tyranids. Tyranids are always just basically lined up for, a parry like that. And dude, the assault bot goes down. The assault bot goes down, and the Bulwark has a mortal wound, and they're at 1. Now I'm being attacked by an enraged major there, using the standard auto bolt rifle. Now, I probably should have kept that stim pack for the Bulwark, but they pretty much already denied it. Also, look, they die right before they were going to be able to pick it up anyway. They basically already kind of denied it. And he's in the chat, and he's pretty much just playful about it. Dude, honestly, hey, no hard feelings about dying right there. This is definitely a Hive Tyrant that is alive for way too long because I have a really bad weapon. But hey, you know what? Shout out to that Bulwark. They are doing their best to basically work up the ranks of the higher difficulties here. Lethal was still pretty difficult. But yeah, luckily I was able to basically land a lot of parries, so I had a lot of scans, which really helped out the overall DPS of the tactical build here. And yeah, overall standard auto bolt rifle, right? This weapon, not good. It's interesting that I actually am going to, I might get it to relic maybe. But hey, you know what? Starting off at lethal isn't too bad for a standard auto bolt rifle. Yeah, dude, at the by the end of that Hive Tyrant fight, I could have just like walked around him and just parried him as much as I wanted. I do put up like 9k damage. I do jump into this operation about halfway through. I think I would have cracked 10k probably if I played through the entire operation, something like that. The Bulwark though put up a lot of damage, and unfortunately they went down, but I was able to clean up my basically clean up my bad decisions.